We back. We back. This is a little later edition of I Almost Didn't Post This. Normally I try to post on Sunday. This week, just too much stuff going on, including getting back in from California. How y'all doing? What's happening? What's going on? I will say, going out to California was an experience that I really needed. I really needed. Let me pull up some of my notes here. Let's talk about the travel. So the last time you saw me, I was literally hacking my brains out, going to California, getting over something that the kids and the wife had, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. I was literally coughing my way through last week's show, and yeah, just went out there. As I got out there, like the fresh, clean, like ocean breeze, dry air dried me out. It was great. It was great. Spent the first part of the week out there with my think tank family, and I think there may be a little bit of a misconception with think tank or the organization I'm a part of. It's nothing special. I know, like some people refer to it as quote unquote the Illuminati of the DJ industry, but it's not that. It's just a group of like-minded people getting together, sharing ideas, being creative, kind of letting the guard down, and talking about things that we all go through. And that week was so needed. It's a great fresh start to the year, even though at this point we're just a few days from being into February. But it was it was a nice clean break. Got out there. Let's see, Sunday got out there, and then spent till Wednesday out there, and then Thursday we were in Anaheim for 2025 NAMM, which is always a shit show. This year was no different, but it was a spectacle. So let's back up. Recorded last week's show, pretty much hopped on a plane. I didn't even sleep that night. A couple hours later, got on the plane, flew to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to LAX. Got to LAX, met up with one of my good homies, Justin Reed, and we got on a road trip to San Luis Obispo, California. Now, driving out there, it was a nice drive. We got to catch up, talk about life, talk about business, frustrations, admirations. Just a good. He's a good friend of mine, so like the car ride seemed like it went by pretty quick. Get out to California, and man, I'm feeling it. Not feeling that great. Just trying to get over the kid blues, even though it seems like they're always sick, and because of it, I'm always sick now. I try to do my best to stay away from the drama, but got out there and went into like just a full week of education, trying to learn how to sell our corporate services or our production services to corporate accounts. Learned a lot of new tips and tricks, got to meet some new people, got to see some new things, and California is simply stunning. It is simply incredible. Like, I know you guys are paying for the weather out there, but like it was great. One of the last days that we were there, we got to actually not one of the last days. One of the first days we were there, we got to go out to Pismo Beach, the pier. They were having a surfing competition, like stuff that I'd never seen. It was crazy. It was crazy. And again, just being around people who are ultimately on a different ship, but on a ship that's cruising at the same speed that my ship is. It's just like you can't take those little moments away. You really can't take those moments away. It's a much needed break away from home life, from work life, to really kind of reset, refocus, replan the agenda for the year. And the business is going to do great this year. Actually, last year we had a little bit of a down year, but we knew it was coming. And this year is going to be, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be a year of addition by subtraction, and I can't wait to just see what I've been working on, because, you know, Last year, I'll be honest, was a little bit of a cruise control year where I kind of had the foot on the cruise control, off the accelerator, and me and Justin were both talking about this, both going through some just interesting things on the home front and the business front. And last year we let business is tough. Sometimes you have to take your foot off the gas just to catch your breath. And we both have stated that this year is going to be great. He's off to a good start. I'm off to a good start, and with what we've learned and acquired over the past week, I think we're going to do something special. This year. So I'll be rooting for him, and what's cool? It's cool to know you've got somebody that's, maybe a couple states away, maybe hundreds or thousands of miles away. But they're on the same side of the rope when you're playing tug of war. They're on your team, and those types of relationships you really can't get back. So if you're in business, I don't care what kind of business you're in, find a community of people that are pulling on the same rope, and that first group of people is probably not going to be the people that help pull you to the finish line. It may take a second iteration, a third iteration. But eventually you find those people that are outside of your organization that want to see you win just as bad as you want to see them win. And when you got people like that on your side, it's hard to get discouraged because somebody's out there just hustling just like you are. So that was great. St. Luis Obispo was incredible. Pismo Beach, it was incredible. We got to drive up the Pacific Coast Highway, up the 101. That was fantastic. Got to see the ocean from a view I'd never seen before, and it was incredible. And then on the way back, we picked up another guy, also a part of Tank, and we road tripped it back to Anaheim. And let me just tell you this. We went through the California fires. We never physically saw a fire or flames or whatever, but we got probably an hour and a half outside of LA, and it was visibility was very low. The sky was ominous. It was just kind of orange, and you could smell it. It was an interesting thing. I've never been a part of a fire at all. I've thankfully never had an experience where I've even had to have firefighters come to the rescue, and just to drive through an entire city. And I don't even remember what city it was. It definitely was not Los Angeles, and we'll get to that in a second. But driving through a city and knowing that somebody's grandparents, somebody's dog, somebody's brother or baby or something is breathing this air in, and they've got nowhere to go. While we were down there, they evacuated San Diego, I believe, and I don't even think San Diego is close to LA, but it may have been a new fire that popped up. But just to drive, we were driving for probably 20, 30 minutes through the entire, kind of smoke-filled area, and it definitely just, if it was a balloon, it would have popped the balloon. It just took the wind right out of the sails, and you don't understand it until you're in the middle of it. And then when you're in the middle of it, the only thing I could help but do was to think about the people involved. And my heart goes out to them. I'm empathetic towards their situation. But the biggest kind of eye opener in the entire situation was LA, Los Angeles, Anaheim. None of that was on fire. Hollywood, none of that was on fire. And I'm not a conspiracist or trying to start any drama, but according to the news that's in my feed, and I'm in flyover country, middle of Arkansas, the news that I'm getting was that LA was on fire. LA was on fire. And that is just not what I experienced. And I don't know if, because I'm not in the area, I don't really have like I don't have a reference point. I know LA as the city of like the Angels. That's all I know. Huge town. I think it's like it may be the second or third or largest city in America, but it's very spread out. It's not like New York, where New York is piled on top of each other, everything's super tall, and you've just got people compacted on top of each other. LA, it's just a lot of people. Now, some things are tall, but it's totally spread out over many more acres. And when I was flying in, didn't see any smoke. When I got to LA, got to LAX, it was just kind of overcast, but that was, I'm going to assume that is from the just from the haze in the air. That's the thing they deal with all the time. But like even a few hours before I touched down in LA, I was on Twitter on the plane or Facebook or whatever on the plane, and they said the Hollywood sign was on fire. Like the actual sign had sustained damage and was on fire. And this is just a random like news clip that I had gotten off the internet. But I totally took it as true, 100%. I don't know why these people are lying. They've got no reason to lie. But I took it as facts. And, we went up to, got off the plane. It was kind of hazy, drove 4 hours north, didn't see a lick of smoke. And then it wasn't until I got back that we went through the smoke. And then, that same night that we're in town, first night in town, we go check into the Airbnb, which was super dope. More on that in a second. But we go back out, Hollywood Walk of Fame. That was cool to see all the celebrities and the handprints. And, it's Hollywood. That's like the city of stars. And we walk through to like the Walk of Fame, whatever, that kind of strip. We walk in there or walk down the strip, and you can go in the mall, and there's an observation point. We thought it was for a Kobe mural that was done, and it was, same floor. But we go to walk across the other side of the mall, and I'll be damned if you don't see the Hollywood sign, and it's totally fine. No damage, still standing, totally fine. And just a few days ago, I thought that it was completely burned down, on fire, all hell's broken loose, LA's a war zone. But you get there and it's none of that. Absolutely none of that. And it just goes to, that was a real eye-opener for me because, and again, I don't want to be a conspiracist, but like even as a dad, I'm going out there like, I just thought it was on fire. And not to say that it's not, but what you see online isn't always the truth. And I know it's 2025 and we shouldn't have to tell people to not trust what they see on the internet. But if you need another example of don't trust everything you see on the internet, literally don't trust every damn thing you see on the internet, because I was flabbergasted, for lack of better words, that the Hollywood sign was there and it was not on fire. So we did that the first night, went out to the Comedy Store. That was a special trip. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Bill Burr is one of my favorite comedians. All the comedians within the podcast, kind of ecosystem all talk about the Comedy Store. That's where it all began. If you're going to blow up as a comic, you got to make it in LA, and the Comedy Store is where everybody, grinds their teeth and makes it to the big time. And to see that in person, it made it all make a lot more sense. And I've talked about this in a previous episode, but as an entrepreneur, you hit some level of success, and because you created that thing yourself, it makes you think that you can do anything. I'm a victim of that where I pick something up or if I give something a shot because I've had success with my business and running a business is the hardest thing I've ever done. I kind of almost assume that I can make it work and have some level of success with whatever I'm doing, whatever it is. Um, and at one point in time, and I'm not turning this dream down, but at one point in time, I thought I could be a stand-up comedian. You listen to enough stand-ups, and I work with crowds all the time. That's the hardest part, just getting over the stage fear. And I can tamper that down, but I thought I was funny enough to sell out arenas because I've got that much confidence in myself. And boy, was it a humbling experience to go to the Comedy Store on a Thursday night for a showcase of people working their new material, and you see somebody eat a bag of shit just on stage uncomfortably in front of you. It was super eye opening. We went to the belly room the first night and the main room the following night. But this was, it was a show that we knew it was going to be comics working on new material. Got to see Whitney Cummings live and in person. That was cool. But the belly room, for those of you who have been, you already know. But for those of you who haven't been, as of like me, just a few days ago, it's super intimate. I don't know that there was 40 people, 40 chairs in this place, and to be honest, there may have been 20, 30 people in there. And if you weren't funny, it was very obvious, and because people weren't laughing, and we were sucked in and packed in there. It was tight. It was tight. Literally, the where the camera is sitting right now to my position is how close you were to a comic on stage, and like it makes you uncomfortable. And I know it's done purposefully because sometimes you need to feel uncomfortable to grow. Sometimes an empty room or a room full of people may be the deciding factor between you giving up and you coming back next week to see if those same jokes are going to stick. There were some funny comedians that night, no doubt, but there were also some comedians that did terrible, that did absolutely terrible. And to not get laughs in front of 20, 30 people that were, oh, by the way, laughing their butt off at the guy that just got off stage, to feel that energy in that space, what a rush. What a rush. It was intense. I left that comedy club with so much more respect for the comedy game. And one day I still have aspirations of being a comic, who knows? But just me going and experiencing that brought it back to life extremely quick, or brought me down to earth pretty fast. What was neat is we were literally in Beverly Hills, like the Hollywood Hills. You look up and there's a $20-30 million mansion on the hills. We were out there, and it was cool. If you've ever been to Miami, like the high end part of Miami, it was like that, but again, a little bit more spread out. Got to see Beverly Hills and Rodeo Drive and eat some good food and go to the Comedy Store, and it was incredible. It was incredible. Next day, we get to NAMM. We get to see the new speakers from Electro Voice, the column arrays, and if you're not the sound DJ, all that stuff, you can probably skip over. But we got to see and hear and feel the new column arrays from Evie, and I'll be honest, I'm sold. The Evolve 50s completely changed the game. And everything since the Evolve 50s has progressed into, DJs having column arrays and, wondering if this one system can take care of, dances up to 150, 200 people. And I was always against the column array. Even a good one was limited on sub size. Most of them came with 12-inch subs, which a 12-inch sub does nothing for me. But that's neither here nor there. But it really kind of changed the look and the aesthetic of what a traditional mobile DJ was. And Evie came out with the 70 and the 90 series, which is a 15 and 18 sub within a column array, respectively. And I'll be honest, I'm sold. The Evolve 90s, I've already talked with a buddy of mine who's working with with Electro Voice directly, and I want my hands on them just as soon as I can. They sounded good, and I'll be honest. We went into the RCF demo room. He just so happens to be looking for a new PA, and there were two guys here, and very different makeup. I probably sit at the most knowledgeable as far as audio goes, and that's not a knack on these guys, but it's more catered towards what I do. One has gotten into production over the past couple years. He's rocking and rolling, already got some hotel contracts, doing the damn thing. But he's just invested in a new line array, the QSC line array, and it's not really fitting the bill. He's already told me that he's got a little bit of buyer's remorse. And the second guy that I'm with, he is more of a high-end, super luxury wedding DJ, but wants to step it up, wants to start getting into production. And he's got his eyes set on a system from LD Systems. It's called the Milani. I forget what it's called. But he's looking at that system, and really, it's a weird dynamic, because I know that the LD system works great in a DJ scenario, but it's just not quite the thing that I think he needs to propel him in a different direction. I'm talking to him. I'm giving him my insight. I've been in this position before, and it's all I am doing all but saying, dude, don't buy that piece of shit sound system. And it sounds fine. Like for a DJ rig, for a bigger school, maybe it might work. But you don't want your buddy to waste his money. Think about you've got a friend, your friend has a family, he's got 2 kids, a dog, they play sports, they're into all sorts of shit. And your friend comes to you and says, dude, I think I'm about to buy a Corvette. When okay, cool. I guess a Corvette would be cool, but what you really want to say is, dude, you need this fucking minivan. I don't know what you're doing. If you bought that Corvette, I think you're wasting your money. You need to buy this minivan because it checks all the boxes. It fits the needs. It's got room for growth. Like, there's a whole bunch of minivans out there. If you get in a wreck and you need another minivan, there's going to be one on the lot. Like, you're giving him all of the advice you can, but he walks into that Corvette showroom and you can't talk him out of it. That's the other friend. And I'm trying to not kill their dreams, trying not to shit on their products or products that they're interested in buying, but at the same time, really wanting to open their eyes up to there's something bigger out there, and this minivan is going to fit the needs of so much more. And that minivan for me was RCF. I was completely blown away by the audio that you can get out of RCF stuff. And I'm not saying RCF's bad. I've never said that. I know they make good products, but I was a little bit more biased towards JBL. I've always been a fan of JBL. And when it was time for me to buy a new audio system, I didn't look anywhere else because I thought JBL was for me. And my rig has worked out great. It sounds great, looks great. We get a ton of compliments on it. But at this point, I'm almost kind of, I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I didn't check out the RCF. Maybe my situation was I'm looking for a Lambo, but for similar specs and maybe the same money, maybe a little bit less money, I could have went with a Ferrari. Who knows? But because I had my eyes dead set on buying a Lambo, I didn't even look at a car that may have been faster, a car that may have had more color options, a car that may, although may not be as flashy as the Lambo, has an 1/8 quarter mile time that's faster. Um, but because I was so set on getting the Lamborghini Huracan with the butterfly doors, I didn't even look. And I could have saved my money or some money and maybe even had the money to buy the Ferrari and get work done to it because, to make it a little bit better in its class. So it was an interesting week watching other people shop for what could potentially, set their business on the next trajectory. Was cool. It was a cool experience. I got to act as a trusted, friender, mentor, and friend, and give my opinion and be able to offer advice of situations that I've been in, and maybe put their mind at ease, or maybe let them think about things in a different way. It's cool, and it reminded me yet again that in my life I'm exactly where I need to be. My goal is to mentor and be a friend to and help guide people that want to do something special, whether it's a DJ business or a production business, or maybe it's a dad that needs some advice from a random guy he's heard on the internet. I know I'm right where I need to be. The last day we were there, so we toured NAMM for 2 days. On the last night that we were there, we got to have a good meal, get back to the house, and literally stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning talking about problems that we've had within our business, problems that we've had within our team, relationship issues, and kid issues, and employee issues. We talked about it all. We went to bed at 4 o'clock. I think I may have fallen asleep on them. And had to be up at 10 and out of the house to get back to LAX so we could all get back to home. But having that time, if you don't have that time baked into your schedule, I suggest you start thinking of ways to have some time spent with peers, people that you trust, to get back to ground one. And right now I'm primed, super primed, pumped, ready for the year that's in front of me. And I can't wait. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. If I had to give my best of, let me go back and talk about NAMM. NAMM is a cool experience because it is, if not the largest, one of the largest trade shows in America. There are hundreds of thousands of people that flock towards Anaheim, Disneyland, to see the latest and greatest in technology and music equipment. And it stands for the National Association of Music Merchants. So NAMM used to be the place where businesses went to do business with manufacturers and leaders within the entertainment and music industry. So it doesn't matter if you're looking at a $300,000 PA or a $2 flutophone for your kid's classroom. You went to NAMM to do business. NAMM in the more recent years has turned into a who's who of musician, from your seasoned touring vets and engineers and professional musicians. We saw Stevie Wonder walking the hallways trying out harmonicas. From Stevie Wonder all the way down to the kid that just bought his first turntables and is going to his first NAMM to check out what turntable he's going to be saving up for this summer when it drops. It's all, NAMM is also the place where new equipment generally drops. This year it was the Evolve 70s and 90s. QSC came out with a new column array. RCF had some new stuff. Bass Boss, oh my goodness. I have never experienced that type of sound from a PA ever inside of a ballroom like that. It was super impressive. And I'm really, that's another brand that I probably didn't give a fair shake to. A lot of that was because they really can't be found, cross compatibility, things of that nature. But Bass Boss has got it going on. I was in there with my buddy Justin, and we both made, mental note of the CEO of the company, who is and she almost looks elderly, female, who's in there, in her tracksuit on, and it makes you stop and not judge a book by its cover. Um, Had I not known that she was the CEO and she introduced herself, she would look like somebody's grandma. And she's in there delivering a dream to people who are in their next stage, ready to make a jump into something big that we know and love as the entertainment industry. And she's delivering a product to them that will change the world. Like it's crazy that everyone from that kid that walked through his first doors at NAMM and he thinks he's going to be the next Jazzy Jeff or Scratch Bastard or whatever, to the lady that may have already lived that dream and now she's inspiring others through the dynamic products that she makes, how she interacts with customers, and how she just is creating something special. There's no differentiator between these two people. If you look at them, young or old, they both had a smile on their face. They both had a glimmer of hope for something cool in the future. And in that moment at NAMM 2025, they're surrounded with people who are literally trying to do the same thing. And that's chase a dream. Whether you want to be a musician or a sales rep trying to get their first sale, or a manufacturer delivering their first product to market, everyone in that building was living a dream. And I'm happy I got to be a part of it. And that's the podcast for the week, and that's my 2025 recap of California. It was crazy. Much needed. I'm glad to be home. We'll see y'all next time.